You probably understand by now that half your battle when working in Revit is to figure out how to get your views looking good. And in order to do that, you first need to make sure that your view ranges are set correctly. Setting the view range correctly, it's kind of akin to like having this camera focus correctly. Like if I were to, have the focal length like this, you can't really see much. Everything's a little blurred out. But if I look too far back, you can see everything back there looks great, but the subject that I'm trying to highlight is a little blurry. So if you've set your view just right, the thing that you want in focus is in focus, and everything else kind of like takes a background effect, which is what we want in a drawing as well. The confusing thing about view range is, the different cuts. You have your top, your cut, your bottom, and then your below grade. So let me try to highlight what each one of these, different settings do, and we'll go through step by step on how to set up a good starting view range and how to tweak it to look for certain things above and below where you typically look. And then we'll touch upon plan regions, which is basically an area of the drawing that you can have a different view range than the rest of the drawing. So let's get started. All right, so we're gonna jump into Revit 2024 to showcase view ranges. Just a quick little UI thing. 24 looks really great, and the example project that they have is actually a pretty interesting one. They have like they call it Snoot-on Towers, and it's this like really futuristic looking thing. I think if I just do a section box here, and then I change this to coordination, you can see what they want to put in here. And let me see, can I find where they want to put it? Here it is. So I found the location of where they want to put it. It's in Snowdon Place, Pennsylvania. And if I were to zoom into here, you can see that they bulldozed this place from this. So this is what used to be here. It looks like some historic place with a bunch of shops down below. And yeah, now it's gone. So they got this like Snowdon Towers going into Snowdon's place. There's like an old abandoned bank here. That's kind of interesting. And if you just keep going around to the back, you see like there's like abandoned apartment complexes. It's weird. I keep slipping between 2009 and 2023, and if you just go forward just like a little bit, you're back in 2009 and back to 23. It's like Lokian, time slipping in the same spot. It's quite fascinating. But anyways, this is where the sample project is located, and that's what we're going to be working with. So wow. Okay, so here's what it looks like in the model. Yeah, I look for the sign, I look for the empty plot of grass, or I look for the empty lot that is in this area. And yeah, this fits right in there. Aesthetic wise, it looks so different. I think there's like solar panels here, which is right, because I think this is true north, the way it faces. So they put the panels south, and they have an underground parking garage in the building. So pretty neat stuff. But anyways, I digress. Let's get into view ranges. So I have here an electrical room that's in this Snowdon Towers. There's a couple things in here that aren't quite right. So what's happening here is that you have some underground conduits coming in, feeding this switchboard, switchgear line up here. And then all your stuff goes in a wireway, and it goes up towards your residence up north on the upper floors. There's some stuff that we don't really want to see. Like this looks to be overhead. Like if you click on it, you can see that it's elevation from level. It's 15 foot. So I'm guessing it's like lighting conduit. So let me just get a better picture of it. And in order to do that, I'm going to just select everything here. We're going to do section box, and it should grab this. Okay. Yeah. It took a slice out of the whole building. I don't need all the floors above. Let's just focus on the electrical room. Down here, oh, there it is. Okay, so let me just cut this room back a little. Beautiful. All right, so I found it. So our switchboards here, we have this monster of a wiring pole box, which actually makes a lot of sense. So they got the switchboard feeding the panels, and then the panels branch circuits going, or they're probably not branch circuits. I'm guessing these are feeders to local like unit panels. That's my guess here. But yeah, look up here. So we got some conduits on the ceiling that are showing up, and I'm pretty sure this goes down below. So let's expand the floor a little bit. Yeah, there's definitely conduits coming out of here. So let's change this from coordination to electrical. And there we go. All right, so we, wow, someone can work on their modeling skills. But anyways, we got underground conduit that we need to show. We have overhead branch circuiting conduits that we probably don't need to show here. And the view could just use some work. And look, there's even a doorway here that I don't think shows up. Oh, it does, but there's a header. Okay, so multiple things wrong in this view. And we're going to go through the view ranges, and I'm going to show you how to fix it, okay? So to get to your view range, it's very simple. You go over here to your properties, and under view ranges, click that button. Now, each one of these things, it's going to change something in our view. So you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to, here, hold on. I'm going to move this over here, and then I'm going to have view ranges here. That way, as I make the changes, you can see what's happening over here, so that I can explain why you do these changes. So let's, stop closing it. So let's go ahead and talk about this. So your top plane is what your upper boundaries are. You typically don't exceed your next level. So your next level is, you can see your next level by your section view. So I'm just going to go through this before I open up the section. So the top plane is your upper limits. Your cut plane, excuse me, your cut plane is what you want to go through your doors and windows and your furniture and stuff. So that helps you visualize your doors and your projected view elements better. The bottom is typically your floor, and the view depth is how deep through the floor you want to look at things. In this case, we want to see the underground conduits. So let me just give you a little bit better of an understanding through a section view before we move on. So here's our section view of that lineup. You got your parking garage at minus 1611. That means your ground floor is up here, L1 block 43. That's 0. So you have 16 feet 11 inches between the bottom boundary and your top boundary, and we want to shave off a little bit so that we don't show this up here. Honestly, I might want to cut the wire away as well. Maybe we'll just bring everything down so that we see the switchboard, the panel, and the underground conduits. So let's do that. So over here, we're going to open up view range, and let's just work our way down. So let's get rid of this set of conduits over here. What you could do is the level above, we could always pick that, and you could do like a minus offset. So minus, let's say like 3 feet, 0 inches. And you can see that that clears that out of the way. It now doesn't show the stuff that's like on the bottom of steel. Another way of doing that is to use the associate level and work your way up. So instead of going from the upper level and subtracting 3 feet, let's do from the bottom, instead of going all the way up to 16 foot 11, we'll go up to 1311. So over here, 1311, and we'll hit apply. And you'll see that nothing changes because I literally set the upper boundary at the exact same height. Before, it was probably 1611. If I hit apply, you see how that comes back. So if I drop it by 3 feet, it doesn't show up. Great, perfect. I didn't want that up there anyways. So that's your upper boundaries. If you're seeing some weird stuff on the ceiling that you don't want, you can drop your boundaries a little. This probably does not work in an RCP, because the RCP, you generally want to make sure you catch all the lights at the top of the fixture, or at the top of your space. So for lighting plans, that's usually level above, and you just keep it there. All right, let's work on cut plane. So the cut plane, like I said, defines your doors and windows. So over here, we can see that the door has a header. It's not showing up properly. We're below grade, so there's no windows. But if you had windows here, and your cut plane was set above the window, you won't see the window. The window simply just wouldn't appear. So we're going to set that lower so that it cuts through everything. So let's do like 4 feet. That's typically what I do. Hit apply, and you can see now the door actually opens. If we had windows, the window would show up too. So cut plane's pretty simple. You usually set it anywhere between like 4 to 6 feet typically. Now the bottom is 99% of the time the floor, like it's 0. So it's just whatever you're standing on, that's your associated level, and that offset is 0. I generally never move the floor. Some people move the floor to look at the stuff underneath the floor, and that's not correct because it affects your line type for the things that are actually underground. So I'm going to leave this as 0, leave this as associate level parking. And I'm going to adjust the view depth to show you how to do it properly. So we know that the conduits are probably 4 feet underground. So this, yeah, minus 4 feet. You can see it here. So middle elevation minus 4 feet. You could also see it here. There's a little minus 4 feet. So we need to make sure that we look at least 4 feet below the ground. So to do that, go to view range. Under view depth, we're going to do a minus 4, 0. Hit apply. And there you go. Now you see the underground conduit in the dashed line type. This is important because up here, let's see, up here, you can see that these conduits are actually above ground. So these are 10 feet above ground, and these conduits over here are 4 feet below ground. So you need to have different line types so that somebody looking at a floor plan can understand what's above the ground and what's below the ground. This is driven by your line type over here. So under manage, additional settings, line style is your beyond setting. So right here, beyond automatically applies to anything that is shown under the bottom plane. So right now it's black and dashed. So watch this. If I were someone that did it wrong and I would go over here and I took the bottom, some people do this. They do minus 4 and also minus 4 here because they get frustrated. They're just like, I want to see what's under the ground. So they drag the bottom plane down, and what happens is that everything turns into a solid line because this is no longer below your bottom plane. Revit doesn't know, like you just screwed up your views. So a contractor looking at this is not going to know to run this below ground or above ground. So it confuses a lot of people, and that's not the right way to do it. So always adjust your bottom to be equal to your floor and look down lower in view depth to figure out where your underground stuff is. So there we go. That's how I want it to be set. Now, if you look at this, this looks a lot cleaner, right? You don't have your overhead lighting conduits hanging around. You can see your underground conduits where you want to. It's accurately portrayed as dashed. So typically, I don't know if this is set up, but in your, maybe not about cover sheets, symbol sheet, maybe? This is not really set up right. But typically on our symbol sheet, we'll have something like a legend saying for line type. Like if it's solid conduit, it'll be like, it above floor, and then we have an underground one. That way the contractors can bid on this properly and they know what the heck they're doing. They know it's going underground. So important one, always make sure that you set this correctly. But yeah, other than that, that's how you work it. You have your top plane that defines your upper limits. If you don't want to see something, pull it down. Cut plane, about 4 to 6 feet so that you catch windows and doors and staircases and furniture correctly. If you have it too high, certain things won't show up. If you have it too low, your elements will start disappearing. Your bottom plane should always be the floor. Very rare exceptions where you need to change that. And then your view depth should only be as low as you need it to be to see the things that you want. That way your line types preserve your line types to make sure that things show up properly if it's below grade. So yeah, that's it. And for most of your projects, that's all you ever need to do. But if you ever have a scenario where like a separate portion of your floor plan needs to look a little different, you can use plan regions to change the view range in that specific area. So to do that, you just go up here to view And then under plan views, there's a thing called plan regions. So plan region is helpful in that we can take, let's just say this electrical room, for some reason, we want it to only show up to, I don't know, 8 feet or something. We can do that here. So I'm going to expand this. So you can, oh, I drew that way too fast. Let me try that again. So plan region, click on plan region. You could draw in a straight line or a box. So I'm just going to click the box this time, and I'm going to draw the box over here to encompass the room. Click. So you see the little magenta line over here? That's the boundaries where I'm going to change the view range within. So anything within that view range is going to be separate from your view template or your view range that's set for everything else. Then over here, you can change this. Say, instead of looking at 1311, let's say I want to look at 8 feet for some reason. So I'm going to hit apply, okay, and then check. And then in this particular area, you see how the wireway just went away? Let's say this one, I just want to focus on the underground and the equipment on the wall. This makes it look easier, right? You don't have to worry about this big box that's overhead. You can adjust this so that when you pull it back, you see how the wireway pops up because a portion of it extended beyond the view range. But if I drag this back up, you see how the wireway gets hidden in here. This also hides like the conduits going up and everything. So in this particular region right here, this view range is set to this parameter here, 8, 4, and -4. But on the overall view range, if you escape a few times, overall view range is set to 13, 11, 4, 0, and 4. Yeah, this is really helpful when you have like different levels throughout your building, or you want to not look so high in an open ceiling space. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons that you would need a planned region within your view. All right, so that's view ranges for you. Hopefully that can help solve some of your problems. If you have things that are showing up that you don't want, or if you have things that are not showing up that you do want, it's probably a view range issue. So like I said, put it next to each other, do what I do, put it on one side, and then have the view range open on the other side. Tweak your settings, hit apply, and see if that fixes your problem. If you want to just isolate it to a certain area, use a plan region, and that will change the view range just in a specific area. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you have questions, you can find us on Patreon and Discord. We chat pretty frequently over there. And other than that, have a good one.